that government may not ban plastics entirely. That's according to the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, Professor Frimpong Boateng. Instead, among other measures, it has set up an account into which levies taken from the manufacturers will be channeled into to invest in a recycling plant or recycling plants.
The government has now set up the plastic levy, and a bank account has been opened at the Bank of Ghana. And these levies, people who import plastics will have to pay some small levy which will be deposited in this account. And that money will be utilized in doing a lot of things that we want to do, plastic recycling and so on. But in managing plastics, we think that a wholesale ban will not be in the interest of Ghana, because plastics are used everywhere, in the hospitals, in the homes, in industry, in agriculture, and so on. So, for example, the very ugly plastic bags, the ones that we use to nurse things, if you say you're going to ban it, what are the Ministry of Agriculture going to use? Yes, we are in favor of ban. Certain things would be very easy to ban. For example, carrier bags. If you go shopping, you can use cotton bags. But something to carry water is very difficult to ban. Right now, we have polluted most of our water bodies through illegal mining activities and other things. So the people in the communities are not able to use the river water or the lakes and so on. So they depend upon sachet water. And I don't think it will be prudent for Ghana at this particular time to ban sachet water. What we are interested in is what we call the circular economy. From plastic manufacturing through their life cycle to their disposal. The problem is that plastics are not bad, but its management is problematic. And therefore, we should learn how to manage the plastic.
Well, the Plastic Manufacturers Association is not entirely happy about this move. Some of the members who spoke to JoyNews off record say there's already an existing levy the association pays to government. The problem, however, is government is mismanaging the funds collected so far from this levy. Well, Boche is the president of the Plastic Manufacturers Association. He joins us live on the line. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Boche. What's the nature of this levy members of the association pay, and when did you start paying it?
Thank you, Arba. Thank you for having me. This is since 2011 that we've been paying this 10% EET, that is Environmental Excise Tax, which was proposed by manufacturers. And we lobbied government to enact this law. We've been paying all these years. Currently, it's exceeding 900 million. But then these monies are sitting in the national coffers, the consolidated fund. We've dialogued with government, departments, agencies, ministries, severally, encouraging them to set up the authority. Without an authority, these monies cannot be disbursed. If you look at the bill, the act, it's clear. 60% of these monies is supposed to go into plastic recycling. In plastic, the only way to manage, to recycle, to reduce, without that, you can't. There is no way, nowhere in the world that plastic is being managed without effective recycling. And we knew that government might not be able to sustain financially. That is why we did propose this bill. And this has been hanging in for all this while. When you have over 900 million, this money is accruing monthly, about 14.7 million Ghana cedis every month, which is coming in. This is quite conservative anyway. So for us, we can't understand why government will not release this money.
So if I understand you, the levies that are being collected have accrued to in the excess of 900 million cedis, you say?
Exactly.
And the monies were, according to what government had earlier promised, supposed to be invested in the construction of recycling plants?
Exactly.
So essentially, there's nothing new that the minister is telling us, is there?
Sorry, come again?
Essentially, there's nothing new the minister is telling us, is there?
There's nothing new. There's nothing new. In fact, in recent times, just about 2 weeks ago, the situation is just getting too much out of hand because we also did realize that the green government, i.e. the Commonwealth and some European countries, are putting enormous pressure on government to do some kind of a selective ban. Indeed, there is a project funded by the Commonwealth Secretariat, which is focused on Ghana, Tanzania, and Rwanda. And I think in recent memory, Tanzania has done some kind of a ban already. And there's so much pressure on Ghana government to do a ban. So we, again, apart from paying all these monies, we've gone beyond to look at EPR and then PPP. EPR means Extended Producer Responsibility. And then the PPP is Polluter Pay Principle. That whatever we are paying at 10% PET is from the manufacturers. But then we also want to get companies such as Nextel, Baltic, etc., to come in the loop. And therefore, that is where the EPR comes in. And then again, plastic waste or plastic packaging by itself would not go out to the street as a litter. It is the consumer who is causing it. So then when we bring in the PP policy as well, then effectively it will cover everybody. So we have gone ahead. There's a group, GRIPE. GRIPE is made up of 8 multinational companies, Nestle, Unilever, PZ, etc. So we are collaborating to make sure we get an EPR and probably to some extent PPP in place so that if government is not releasing these money, we'll still be able to do something. Again, from GPMA, we have formed a consortium to set up a recycling plant here one in Accra and then one in Kumasi to begin with. We already have some partners from Germany and then Netherlands who are ready to, as an uptake, to collect these plastic waste. Again, one of the largest water bottling company in Ghana is setting up a plant. I think it's a 3 million euro plant in Tema to collect PET bottle waste, recycle it back into PET bottles. We call it RPET. So indeed, behind the scenes, as manufacturers, we are doing a lot, but government probably is refusing to complement what we are doing.
And speaking of government and the alleged mismanagement or misapplication of these levies, what have you gathered so far from what they are using these monies for?
Honestly, from the previous administration, there wasn't any proper track of what the monies were used. These monies goes into the consolidated fund, and that fund, from my layman's point of understanding, is for general purpose use. So government will use it for any other budget deficit or whatever they will call it. And again, we are business people, and we will not want to put our nose too much into government activity. So we can't really have some facts or details as in how the money was applied. Whether misapplied or applied, we will not be able to tell you.
Interesting. But how do you respond to, suggestions that there are some manufacturers who are actually influencing the process and for government's bid to actually ban these plastics? There have been a lot of people advocating for the ban of plastics, as we see elsewhere, like Rwanda, which has banned some level of plastics. But in Ghana here, there's a lot of talk, but no action. And the suggestion is that it's the manufacturers who are influencing, the policymakers against, taking this action.
Yes. The sad thing is that about 62% of the plastic carry bag, the black carry bag that you see it around, is imported from China.
How much percent? 62%, you say?
62% of what we are using locally here are all imported from China. So if government is looking at any ban, the first ban should be ban import of carry bags into Ghana. Rwanda banned shopping bags, plastic shopping bags. So why should we allow imports to come and litter our countryside? This is something which is beating our imagination and our understanding, that government will not be able to muster the courage to ban importation of plastic carry bags. Indeed, we have a lot of traders here in Ghana who have gone to China to set up some small to medium scale plastic bag company in China. They produce and then they bring it to Ghana for sale.
Thank you so much. That's Eboboche. He's president of the Ghana Plastic Manufacturers Association. Now, there have been growing calls by some Ghanaians and pressure groups for government to ban the use of plastics due to what they say is its adverse effect on the environment and health of people. But stakeholders in the plastic industry have warned of the economic consequence of such a decision. Speaking at the Meet the Press series in Accra Tuesday, Professor Boateng said a resource recovery center at the CSIR is working on the plastics waste policy.
The plastic policy, I mean, a lot of you are very much interested in how we are going to manage plastics. 2 years ago, or maybe a year and a half ago, we were under pressure to ban plastics in Ghana because certain countries in Africa have banned plastics, so we should do the same. We think that we should be very careful in the way we do that, because if you ban something and you're not able to monitor and police it, what do? So we have drafted a very important plastic policy which is not cast in iron. The policy has two components. We have a resource recovery secretariat, a secretariat that will be manned by people from my ministry, from sanitation, from local government, from the private sector, from plastic manufacturers, and those who use plastic. But in managing plastics, we think that a wholesale ban will not be in the interest of Ghana, because plastics are used everywhere. Certain things would be very easy to ban. For example, carrier bags. If you go shopping, you can use cotton bags. But something to carry water is very difficult to ban. Right now, we have polluted most of our water bodies through illegal mining activities and other things. So the people in the communities are not able to use the river water or the lakes and so on. So they depend upon sachet water. And I don't think it would be prudent for Ghana at this particular time to ban sachet water. What we are interested in is what we call the circular economy, from plastic manufacturing through their life cycle to their disposal. But certainly we cannot ban plastic bags that are used in blood donation. We can't use plastic bin linings that are used in the hospitals and elsewhere.